For he himself is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of separation. Those words of the Apostle Paul penned in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 14. In that chapter, Paul is giving a graphic portrayal of fallen man's condition apart from Christ and the transformation occurring from entering a personal relationship with him. These verses describe sinners as orphans and outcasts, but all that changes when we meet Jesus. Sinners become saints, and the result is we become part of the family of God, and the estrangement we had from the Lord and his people comes to an end, united with Christ and with one another. You see, Paul describes the church here in Ephesians 2 as a brotherhood in verses 11 through 14. Now, the world likes to think of itself as a great community where we all are one. The reality contradicts such utopian nonsense. Man's brutality is graphically displayed on the news every day. The only way true peace comes is when the Prince of Peace brings it. Our peace with others is predicated on our peace with God. That is available through Christ. It is through that connection that God becomes our Father. Now, we may have black skin or white skin. We may be Methodist or Baptist. We might be Jews or Gentiles. We have the same Father and belong to the same family if we know Christ. Sinful humans like to build walls, but God is in the business of demolishing barriers. Paul not only describes the church as a brotherhood, but in verses 15 through 18 of Ephesians 2, he says the church is a body. Now, as a body has many different parts, connected and working together at the direction of the head, so is the church. God fashioned Adam's body from the dust and breathed into man his life in the original creation. Well, in the new creation, he took such unlikely material as we are and molded us together, breathing his life-giving spirit into us, and the church came to life. The church is a brotherhood, it's a body, but there in Ephesians 2 verses 19 through 22, he calls it a building. Now, I've often heard and I have often said that the church is not a building. Well, that depends. If we mean that the church is not an edifice constructed of bricks and mortar, then we are correct. But the church is a spiritual temple constructed by God of redeemed men and women. The picture is of an architect fitting many different components into a structure, and thus God is the architect of his church. We're the pieces that he puts in place. The foundation of this temple is Christ, the cornerstone, and connected with him, the apostles and the prophets who shared his gospel in establishing the church. But on that foundation, God's raising up the frame. We are the material that he is using. How exciting that what God is doing in our local church is part of the great eternal temple that he is building. Isn't it amazing what God's doing? So you can be my brother or sister if God is your Father. No longer need you be excluded and outcast without hope. You can be reconciled to God and enter his forever family. If you have not received Christ, do it now. You know, those who belong to him need to employ the unique giftedness that he has placed in us for doing the work in this world he wants done. No more fighting with each other. We're family. No more laziness. We're the body of Christ, to be his hands to help and his feet to go and his mouth to speak. No more complacency in thinking the church is okay when he wants the building ever expanding. Why would we want to build a chicken coop on the massive foundation of Christ's work, which he designed for a heaven-reaching and global encompassing structure? What a church.